like, bitch, I'm the mayor. You not my bitch, then bitch, you indicted. Came through drip, drip, drip. Came through drip.
What's up and what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Car Ride Reactions, the show where we react to the latest movies on the car ride home. Today, riding solo again. Just got out of Eddington by A24, and man, this movie was good. It was a lot different than I thought it would be, but in the best possible way. I'm gonna get into it. First thing I want to say is this movie was kind of all over the place in a good way. There's a lot going on, so I'm gonna try to keep this reaction coherent and concise, but man, it's gonna be one of the tougher ones I've had to do this for. So to kick it off, I mean, Eddington takes place in the early days of 2020 COVID, where we had, you know, the masks were starting to kick in. That's kind of the time period of this, which in itself to me it's always a risk to do a movie, you know, in periods like that. Like, older period pieces make sense, but to do something like COVID, which is kind of dated, I mean, you know, if someone were to watch a movie about COVID 20 years from now, it may not be super relevant to them depending on what age they were when COVID was going on. So that was a risk, but I think it was a good one, and it is kind of relevant for the story of this. So the main two characters are Sheriff Joe Cross, played by Joaquin Phoenix, and then my boy Pedro Pascal plays Mayor Ted Garcia, and it takes place in Eddington, New Mexico. So as the movie kicks off, it kind of, to me, initially has like a Beef, if you ever saw Beef on Netflix, or if you've ever seen Billions, where with Bobby Axelrod and Paul Giamatti's character, which is escaping me at the moment. But there's that kind of the dynamic of like two main characters that don't like each other, and there's like reasons why, or that, you know, in Billions you find out later on there's some preconceived or there's some pre-existing drama between the two main characters, and that's kind of why the show takes off the way it does. And in Beef, it's just two characters that kind of run into each other, but it kind of has that vibe between the two main characters where you can tell they don't like each other at first. You're not sure if there's more to it there or not. You later find out there is, but not really, because it's just like kind of a rumor that wasn't true. Anyway, Joe Cross, who's again Joaquin Phoenix's character, he decides he's going to run for mayor after getting kind of embarrassed by Ted Garcia and in a grocery store, because he's very anti-mask in the early stages of COVID, and Ted, as the mayor, is kind of telling him, you know, you can't be doing that. You have to wear the mask. So at first they kind of make you feel like Joaquin Phoenix or Joe Cross is kind of the shittier of the two, but as things go on throughout the movie, you kind of look at Pedro Pascal's character, Ted Garcia, as maybe he's not the most noble character either. So that's why I was really getting the Billions vibes, because I wasn't really sure who I was supposed to root for in this movie. So the movie is somewhat predictable continuing forward up until a certain point, but it's not a predictable movie at all, but it's somewhat predictable in kind of that dynamic up until a point in the movie where we have Joe ends up just kind of out of nowhere killing the homeless man in Eddington. And this guy had been kind of an annoying character to me throughout the movie. He'd just been coughing on everything, been breaking into bars and being a nuisance and things like that. And to backtrack a little bit, when shit was honestly crazy in this movie. So Emma Stone is Joaquin Phoenix's wife, and her and her mom are like these really like crazy into the internet conspiracy theorist type people. The mom more so than Emma Stone, but they're both like really crazy characters. And Austin Butler's in this movie for like 10 minutes as almost like a cult leader, and anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. He's not in it very long, but Emma Stone ends up leaving with Austin Butler in the middle of the movie, which is kind of part of it. But to backtrack a little bit, Emma Stone's in high school dated her. I forget what Emma Stone's character's name was, but she dated Ted Garcia, and she got pregnant after like 6 months, you hear the story early on. The story from Ted Garcia, or Pedro's point, is that basically they hung out like a couple times. He didn't really, you know, they didn't really have anything. He breaks up with her, and then she, like 6 months later, has an abortion, and it's he even admits, he's like, the timing for me isn't good, but I never touched her. Anyway, her mom is convinced Ted Garcia is the one that sexually assaulted her. So that kind of like lingers over into Joe Cross's character too, on why he resents Ted Garcia. They don't really do a good job of explaining to me why Joe doesn't like Ted, other than that one thing, especially since they out later in the movie that that's not even true, that it didn't even happen that way, or that didn't even happen. It was just kind of the mom's crazy theory, because Joe has a moment where he tries to like out that in a video, and then the next day his wife's his wife comes on and makes her own video, and it's like, yeah, it's not true. And then she ends up leaving. So anyway, where the movie really takes a turn is once Joe's lost everything, his wife's gone, he's probably not going to win the mayoral race based on the last movie made. He kind of just loses his shit and kills the homeless guy in cold blood, like I was saying. Then the next scene is, I mean, he kills Pedro Pascal and Pedro Pascal's son from sniper range on their property, out of like nowhere. Like, it really wasn't something I saw coming at all. And I kind of looked at my phone to see how much time was left. I was like, we got a good amount of time left in this movie. I'm not entirely sure what this movie is now about. So from that point on, you get a little bit of him trying to cover up, because he's the head sheriff in town. So, and the town is, nobody's living there. They only got like 3 cops. Like, it's a really hole in the wall town in America in this movie. And I mean, a lot of the scenes, there might have been like 12 to 25 faces in the entire movie. It really was not a large cast. So anyway, as he, after he kills Pedro Pascal and his son, the movie really kind of becomes more like he's trying to cover up for that murder, and then he's also got Antifa, like there's like, at the end of the movie, there's like an Antifa organization that like comes in and leads to this like final like crazy shootout to end the movie. And it's just, this movie was insane. It was fun to watch. It was a really good time. But like, maybe my media literacy is not great, because at times I was like, I'm not sure I could tell you what it's about. I could tell you it's great. I could tell you it's a good watch. I could tell you we need more movies like this. But I honestly am not sure what the moral or the message of that movie was, unless it was like, people suck, or politics suck, or I don't know. There was a message in there. I'm just not entirely sure what it was. But it was, you know, even in spite of that, it was a great movie. It's a really hard one for me to rank. In some ways, it was one of the best movies I've seen this year. In other ways, it was, you know, one that, like, I'm not positive I'll ever watch it again. I wouldn't mind it, but it's not one I'm going to be rushing to watch again. I'm going to go higher on this one. I'm going to go 8.5, which actually puts it in that Superman and How to Train Your Dragon range for me of recent movies I've seen, but a completely different movie than those two, obviously. But yeah, I think it was really good. I mean, I think it is living up to I did hear some really good reviews. I saw some people say it was movie of the year. It's still Sinners to me. Sinners is going to be a really hard movie to beat as movie of the year for me. But I thoroughly enjoyed. I mean, let's see if I had anything. I mean, it was, yeah, here's some things I wrote down. The movie was pretty funny, actually. Like his campaign signs when Joe starts running for mayor at the beginning, his campaign signs and slogans and stuff were killing me. Just like, think of like the dumbest, most unorganized person you know running for something, and like think of how they would do it. That was basically basically his plan. There was a heartbreaking moment at the very end. It's kind of a heartbreaking moment because the beginning of the movie, the first thing you see Joe doing is Googling like how to like convince your significant other to have or to want a family if they don't. So you can tell he's trying to have kids, but I guess his wife just isn't interested. And then at the end of the movie, one of the last things you see is he sees a video of her with the guy she left with, and she's pregnant, and it's just like, oh man, I know that fucked him up. Not that he was even a remotely likable character in that movie. Great character for sure, but not a likable one. In fact, nobody in that movie was likable. The mom sucked. Again, not in a way that made you not like the movie, but the mom sucked. Pedro Pascal kind of sucked. Pedro's son sucked. Pedro's son friends sucked. The girl they both had a crush on sucked. The other cop sucked. I mean, maybe the only dude that didn't suck in this movie was the Pueblo police officer, the dude that wasn't the like Eddington police officer. Yeah, no, they all. What's the point of this movie? People suck? If so, that was a fire point to the movie, and I take me being confused back, because I think the point of this movie was people suck, and I think it did an excellent job of nailing that critique. All right, y'all just saw me come to that realization in real time. Anyway, go see A24 movie. Whenever A24 drops a movie, go see it, y'all. They are pumping out just consistently good products. If anyone that's like a film expert watches this and knows what is so good about A24 films and can explain it to me, please do, because I don't know what I love about those films, but consistently they are pumping those out. In fact, let me know in the comments what your favorite A24 film is. But that's it for Eddington. To wrap that up, favorite trailers for this one. In one of these, me and Ken talked about The Long Walk, which is the Stephen King book. That looks so good. I can't wait for whenever that comes out. And then a new trailer today I hadn't seen before was A24's The Smashing Machine, starring The Rock, which I guess is based on a UFC fighter when UFC was first coming up. So that looks great. Those are the trailers for today. Thursday, Ken's back, Carly's back. We're going to see Fantastic Four. Really pumped to give y'all our thoughts on that one. I love the Fantastic Four, one of my favorite comic families in all of comics. Hell, one of my favorite families in all of written media and fiction. I was always a Mr. Fantastic Thing, Johnny, Invisible Woman fan, and if my socials on Mr. So Good. If it weren't for Mr. Fantastic, there's no Mr. So Good. So looking forward to reacting to that one for you, and like, subscribe, all that jazz, and thanks for watching.